we need to be inspired by Singapore. I think Singapore is one of the best role models for Uganda, because they managed to move from a third world country to a first world country just a single generation. One of the things they did at that time was they allowed the multinational companies to come and launch in their countries, while the other countries were rejecting them, and they say these guys are coming to drain us. So they allowed them to come, but then they made very good trade deals with these multinational companies, and they made that that the workers were treated very well. And one of the agreements they made was that they they say that even during an economic crisis, the companies are not allowed to lay off any worker. What they should do is reduce the salary of those who are being paid highly, and use that money to pay those who should have been laid off. So through that, throughout the years, most people were employed. Companies were not laying off workers. They were spending less in economic crisis, but having everybody with a job. These are some of the things they did. And Singapore, they train the business mindset and the globalization of small businesses from an early age. From these students, primary students, even nursery kids, they start training them in production, in business, in globalization of trade, innovation. Even the math they do in class, they use the numbers, the calculation they do sometimes using money, not just numbers, real money. The world is changing very fast. If we are to take advantage of the future, we should stop these games of political violence and shouting up and down. Listen, the world is changing very fast. We are trending towards globalization of trade, of small businesses. Years ago, our great-grandfathers and our fathers also worked for over 10 years a day. 10 hours a day. They worked for 10 hours a day. And after the Industrial Revolution, then after that, people today are working for about 8 hours a day, maybe 5 days a week, or 6 days a week. But now with globalization of small businesses, we have people who are working actually for 2 hours a day, and they are making more money than our fathers, our grandfathers, and our great-grandfathers made in a lifetime, all combined. Listen, China alone consumes 7 billion chicken in 1 year. That demand is so huge. If the government doesn't help, we can do it ourselves, and we shall do it ourselves. We shall just come to the president to push for fair taxation, to push for 24-hour custom clearance, favoring small businesses, just as the big businesses are favored. Even better. These are the things we should be pushing for. The world is changing so rapidly. In the Industrial Revolution, the Industrial Revolution freed human beings from hard labor. And formal education came in and enabled people to sit in an office and work for several hours. But e-commerce and globalization of trade, what it does is that it has freed our minds and freed us to be able to work anytime, anywhere, and for how long we want, and getting much more money. So we need financial education among the youth. One of the signs that our leaders are not well informed financially is that you hear some politicians and some journalists saying, well, we should stop national debt. We are living beyond our means. These are words that prove to you that our leaders really don't know much about global financial systems and how they work. Because if you know, you can't say something like that. Why? Because the reason for that is that how our system has been constructed, the world system has been constructed, is that the system cannot work without debt. Debt is inevitable. It has to be there. That is so sad. Our world needs to, of course, be restructured, but currently the systems of the economy of the world have been structured in such a way that debt is inevitable. Even though you do not borrow money, eventually you're going to produce debt. Are you hearing me? So this tells me that we need to educate our politicians and our people Because you see, banks cannot even function in the current system without producing debt. When a customer repays a loan, commercial bank money is destroyed, and the banks keep the interests as profit. And that's an accounting trick. When you know when the bank gives out what they call a loan, it basically pretends that you've deposited money.